All right, welcome to The Explainer. In this one, we are diving deep into a really dense and symbolic text called the These Alpha et Omega. At its core, it presents all of human history as one massive cosmic spiritual battle.
So, is history just one long battle between two invisible forces? Well, the text we're exploring today says absolutely. It argues there's this timeless conflict that's shaping our world in ways we probably don't even see. Okay, let's get into it. So, at its core, the 10C frames this whole thing around two opposing spiritual kingdoms. On one side, you have the kingdom of the flesh, which is described as a system built on human control, appearances, and domination. And on the other side, you've got the kingdom of the spirit, a system of divine freedom, real communion, and truth.
Now, you might think this is a new idea, but according to the source, this duality, it's not new at all. It's a pattern that it says repeats over and over again throughout biblical history.
You see it with figures like Cain versus Abel, one representing a religion of human effort, the other an offering of faith. You see it in huge concepts like law versus grace, and you even see it in physical places, like a temple made of cold stones versus the human body itself, as a living temple for God. So, okay, that's the spiritual side. But how does this conflict actually play out here, on the world stage? Well, the text points to this ancient blueprint, the statue from the book of Daniel. Let's dig into how this model is built. So it all starts at the top, right? With a head of pure gold. This represents the Babylonian Empire. The source interprets this as the absolute pinnacle of human authority, wealth, and self-glorification, sort of the archetype for all human-led systems that follow. From there, we move down to the chest and arms of silver. This symbolizes the dual Medo-Persian Empire. It's seen as a step down in glory from the pure gold, but still incredibly powerful in its own right, especially with its administrative and organizational strength. Next up, you've got the belly and thighs of bronze, representing the Greek Empire. This symbolizes the glorification of human reason, philosophy, and culture, ideas that spread like wildfire across the known world. And that brings us to the legs of iron. This, of course, is the Roman Empire, and it symbolizes something different: crushing military and legal force. It's all about brute strength, laws, and just total domination. Now, what's really interesting here is the pattern. The Teses points out this clear progression. The value of the material goes down, from gold all the way to iron, but the hardness, the brutality, actually goes up. The idea is that human systems become less glorious and more oppressive over time. But, and this is the key, the most important part is what comes last. And that brings us to the prophecy's final stage, the feet of the statue. This is where the source connects this ancient vision directly to our world today. Okay, so the feet are this weird mixture of iron and clay. The Tease has a pretty wild interpretation of this for our time. It sees humanity, that's the clay, being literally fused with technology, the iron. What you get is this fragile but incredibly powerful transhumanist civilization. And the text gives it a name, Babylonia Nesnuvens, which means Babylon in the clouds, a digital global empire. And look, this isn't just some sci-fi concept. The source points directly to the real-world infrastructure being built right now. Think about the push for unique digital IDs, payments by biometrics, and wearable tech that literally merges our bodies with the machine. So according to this source, this whole modern system of control, it all leads to one final test of allegiance, what it calls the mark of the beast. Now, the Tease argues that the mark isn't just, a simple microchip. It's way deeper than that. It's about a total spiritual and ideological submission, a complete buy-in to the human system's logic. So to be marked on the forehead means you believe its narratives, and to be marked on the hand means you act according to its rules. And the source doesn't hesitate to draw parallels to technologies we see today. It points to things like QR codes, mandatory health passes, digital IDs, and especially central bank digital currencies, seeing them all as potential mechanisms for controlling who gets to buy or sell, basically forcing everyone to comply with the system. And this brings us right back to the central conflict, doesn't it? The text is framing this as a choice between two seals. You've got the mark of the beast on one side, that's allegiance to human control, a corrupted mindset. And on the other, the seal of the spirit, which represents a mind renewed by truth and allegiance to divine freedom. But okay, against this rigid, kind of dead system of control, the source presents this powerful counterforce. It's an unseen, spiritual alternative, symbolized by the Pedra Viva, or the living stone. And the contrast the source material draws here it's really stark. You have the Babylonian system, this dead, rigid statue built on surveillance and digital control. And then you have the spiritual alternative, which is described as a living body, a community guided by spiritual discernment and freedom, not by algorithms. To really bring this home, the text contrasts two famous figures, Peter and Judas. Think about it. Both of them failed, big time. But Peter, with a broken heart, he seeks repentance and finds grace. He becomes part of that living body. Judas, on the other hand, gets trapped in the system's logic of law and guilt. He despairs and is ultimately destroyed by it. So what's the crucial point here? It's that this ancient text is being used to frame a very, very modern dilemma. It really all comes down to a fundamental choice between two paths. And the source captures this choice with an incredibly powerful phrase. The system offers shortcuts. The mountain demands a cross. It's this contrast between the easy convenience of just conforming to the world's systems versus the difficult, maybe even lonely path of spiritual integrity. And that is the ultimate choice presented in the Teses Alpha and Omega. It's not just a choice about what tech you use, it's a choice between two completely different ways of being, guided by two totally opposing spiritual systems. And so, this explainer leaves us with the final big question posed by the source material, one that really urges us to think about the invisible forces that might be influencing our beliefs, our actions, and, in the end, our reality.